would you do if the IRS was going to seize all your pay in the future, anything that you have? How would you live? You're not allowed to make any money with it without 100% of it going to the IRS. Mine's probably a special case, but well, I have a diesel wagon that I purchased for $800. I can actually stay in it. Haven't yet. Deep cell batteries. This will charge them up. I can run an inverter, and I can run heat, whatever I want. So this is a mini apartment if I want it to be. I just put some curtains in here. I can run the motor to keep warm. Diesels don't use too much fuel. And this one I bought for $800. The windshield leaked or something. Water went down and got into the transmission. It's automatic transmission. It got stuck in third, which is limp mode. There was mice down in the transmission. Ate the wires, so the motor works fine. Driving on a highway, the turbo wasn't kicking in, so I sprayed some of this in the oil after having changed it. Put this in the half of one of these in the oil as well, and that must have lubed up the turbo to break free. Now that works. The thing is a total dog without it. I put this in the diesel fuel as well. One of the advantages of diesel is no carbon monoxide. So, well, you can run it inside somewhere. It's not the way to commit suicide, and I don't suggest you do that. But propane or gasoline, you have, well, those can produce carbon monoxide, and you can have issues. The booster pack is cool to have if I want to charge my phone. And here's the status. And if I end up using that for charging phones or use the power, I could just hook it onto the running vehicle, leave it on for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it charges itself, so you never have to plug it into an adapter. This right here is an inverter that I got at Harbor Freight, and I hook that to the battery up front with C-clamps, or I run a bank of batteries. I have 6 deep cell batteries, and I put them all positive to positive, all negative to negative, and that's a battery bank. So I can use the car to charge the battery bank, solar panels, wind, or there's ways of hooking into, well, I won't get into that. These are real handy for getting them on the battery. I have a pair of jumper cables that I just have a battery bank, and then run these right here, bolt right to the deep cell. It's better to use deep cell long term because they have actual plates, not like almost like steel wool inside. It's lead. So the deep cell you don't want to discharge in more than like 50%. But deep cell you can charge over and over and over again. Car battery, you run it to dead one time, you may have killed the battery, so it sucks. So don't use car batteries. Don't use this for a regular power source because it will eventually go bad. This is one of my campers, and it's got solar panels up on top, so this can be completely standalone in the woods or whatever. It's got water tanks, sewage tanks, full shower, and the propane heat, propane water heater, so I could take showers, keep warm, and I can use a kerosene heater if I want. I can use an inverter and use electric. And this is a real cool bug out camper. I have other campers that I put out in the woods various places, And it really sucks, even with if you're using somebody's land with permission, even if you put no trespassing signs up and all that. If a generator's stolen, people come by and smash the glass, take pretty much everything that I have stored. So you got to be careful where you hide in the woods. These are two of my water totes. I believe one is 275 gallons, the other one's 330. I can store water in them, sewage, kerosene. I wouldn't advise putting gasoline in these. This is a car dolly. If I find old Volkswagen Rabbits, they could be so decrepit that there's nothing but a hulk. As long as the motor runs, they're awesome. And as long as I can get wheels on at least the front or the back, I can use a car dolly to bring it wherever I want, including with a tractor out in the woods. These are my 55-gallon water totes or barrels. And this right here is a shelter that you can buy at Tractor Supply. Harbor Freight has them. These are awesome. You can use landscaper plastic to cover up the ground, and you can run insulation behind landscaper plastic, and it's pretty damn warm in here. You can heat one of these with a wood stove, both ends open, so you could put a wall in one side, and you can use some sort of cement drywall or whatever materials, and run the pipe out from the wood stove to keep this warm. I can pull the diesel vehicle in here, run a hose out, and I could stay inside the vehicle and stay warm. I can use the vehicle outside to charge batteries and then use electrical, all night. You can be inside of a storage unit, out in the woods, a room in a big warehouse. I mean, it's endless where you can find a place to stay. I suggest staying away from storage places because they take photos of your ID. They take down all your license plate numbers. Those are on the computers, and those are basically searched by the IRS and Homeland Security, allegedly, even without their permission. So anything that they have on you, then it's one more way of tracking you. I also don't have cell phones or a camera like this out where I have my stuff, but I'm moving all that I have or getting rid of it. And well, there's GPS and Wi-Fi capability on this camera, which means the location of everything here is given away. So by the time I post this, I will have moved everything that you see. This is a mooring ball. I don't suggest you use an engine block as a way of anchoring anything in the ocean, but I have seen where there's been chains ran up from those, and then rope. You run to the mooring ball. I'm not suggesting you do this. And with a sailboat, basically, I like the ones with the diesel motors. You take an inflatable raft, with or without a motor, out to it. You can stay on it. If you have solar panels, you can run wind turbines for power. And again, I had use of a sailboat out in the bay, and the 11 or 13 horsepower diesel motor, I could run it an entire hour and it used less than a half gallon of fuel. And I didn't really need to use it at all, except to if I used too much of the batteries. And also, if you have a sailboat, get the automatic bilge pumps. I made the mistake of not having those. Sailboat took on water, and 2 deep cell batteries were down in the balls of the boat. Completely destroyed the batteries. I mean, it could have been a fire. It could have been catastrophic. I wasn't there. but it took on water. It melted the battery cables, and it was horrific what it did for damage in there. So automatic bilge pumps if it, in a sailboat. And another place to stay, if you can figure out stealth and how to get in and out of there, is a boatyard. A boat up on jacks. You just have a ladder. You climb up in the boat, and you're going to and from your areas is when you're most likely to be given away. So to have several places to stay and then not have anything electronic or identifying you is the way to go. What do you do for work when you can't get a job anywhere? Well, if you're around boats, you do boat things like fishing, helping out, trades, and it's amazing what type of deals you can make. If you're out on land, I've fixed lawnmowers, and a 4x8 utility trailer is real handy to have. 4-cylinder car with a hitch, especially one with a stick, is awesome. I used to have a 95 Ford Escort wagon. It had a Mazda motor. I drove that to New Orleans, Florida, and I could stay wherever I want, right in the car. I became an insurance adjuster down after Katrina until they did a background check, and shit sucked after that. But I still was able to live and do pretty much whatever I wanted. With the trailer, you can buy and sell lawnmowers. You can buy and sell a lot of things. I've stacked wood, split wood, cut wood, worked landscaping, did roofs, anything that I could barter or do something just to survive. It means keeping warm, keeping fed, and what do you do beforehand to prep? You know, if you know that you're not going to have money to buy food. Well, I learned how to can. I have a pressure canner. I have a food dehydrator. Make my own jerky. All sorts of vegetables you can dry, put in mason jars. I've canned chicken and all sorts of meat. I can make soups, bone broth. It's amazing all the stuff that I can make just out in the middle of nowhere. I probably had 2 years of food, but people find it and take it. So I have to be better at hiding what I have. For just having some sort of network, to start your own men's team. Have men to get together around a campfire. You have confidentiality, or what's said here is confidential. Who's there is confidential, and basically you talk about each other's lives and help each other out. You know, with family issues, talk about employment, how you get along with your wife, girlfriend, whatever. And you end up having a network of people from all walks of life. You can even have law enforcement, people from the courts, psychologists, some unemployed guy, somebody like me, and all these various people have skills unique to them, and it also is a network for you to use for help. Like I've known people on the inside, and they've given me advice, helped me out, not financially, just with advice and having some influence on the inside. I've kept out of trouble since I learned how to network. A good place to consider. I used them as a model for a men's group. Just look up Mentor, Discover, Inspire, MDI. They do stuff online, so for somebody like me, their databases can be searched. So it's not something that I would do, but it would be if you just owe money to the IRS, or if you just want to live pretty much off the grid. Doing something like that might be a good idea.